Welcome to the Real Freedom Podcast, where we inspire you to pursue your passion to gain time and financial freedom through opportunities in real estate. I'm your host, Mike Swenson. Let's get some real freedom together. All right, welcome everybody to another episode of Real Freedom Stories. And for those of you that have maybe thought about real estate and investing and you still have some concerns, or maybe you're the type of person that's like, how do I get started? How do I, find financing? How am I going to deal with, landlord headaches or finding property managers? And there's still some things that are maybe holding you back to jumping in. And I'm here with Heather Dreves today, and she's going to share with you a way where you can get involved in investing in real estate in a little bit more of a passive way. And so she's going to share with you what they do and talk about some of her background and providing investment opportunities for people that maybe don't want to be the one answering that call from a tenant late at night and maybe want to put something on hold. And I think the other thing is being able to use some smaller denominations of money too, not having to have $100,000 available, so Heather's got some great opportunities for that, and we're excited to dig in. So just a little bit of a background about her. So Heather is the director of funding at Secured Investment Corp, which is one of the fastest growing companies in the private money marketplace in the United States. And you guys focus on residential real estate investments. You're passionate about helping self-employed entrepreneurs and your families build wealth and succeed in their business ventures, and helping investors deploy capital that's looking for a high yield passive investment backed by residential real estate. So you've seen real estate investors succeed and fail, and you're committed to tipping the scale on the sides of success for everyone. So welcome, Heather. We're so excited to have you on the show. And why don't you just share a little bit more about your background?
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. This is exciting. We are always looking for opportunities to share what we have to offer. And, I think some people kind of get hung up in the fact that they think they have to have a large amount of capital to invest in real estate, and they have to have the time it takes to go out and rehab, properties to benefit in the upside of that. But we really believe that here at Secured Investment Corp, we've kind of created this community where we can help those types of active investors, but we can also help our people that are looking for something more passive to invest in. So I've been in the private money industry for almost 20 years now, and have had the pleasure and, quite honestly, the opportunity to help so many families create passive wealth for themselves and generational wealth through passively investing through real estate funds and things like notes. So it's been a pretty rewarding career. I love being able to help these people look at, things outside of the regular traditional stock market options, mutual funds, things of that nature. I think for so long, there hasn't been a lot of content and information and education about other options and opportunities, and there's just so much more out there. So it's pretty rewarding being able to help clients understand and realize what other options they have, especially for things like IRAs and 401ks. So it's pretty exciting. Like I said, we cater to the active real estate investors if they're looking for the funding, but really where I focus around is the passive options. And so I deal with people, that are high net worth individuals and people that have, their first IRA that they just opened up. But regardless, it's a great way to really create wealth for themselves and their families.
Yeah. And I think for people that are, listening and they're thinking about, what options do I have for investments? Now there's very seasoned investors that could, rattle off, here's what you do, and you can do this and this and this and this and this. But I know when I used to work for a nonprofit, and whenever they would bring in the person and we would talk about your 401k, I was so excited to listen to what they had to say. And I was tracking along with what they're saying. And then there was people in my company that would just be like, what do I pick? Like, what do I do? Or I talked to my spouse and they told me I should do this thing, but I don't understand what it means. And so I think that's where somebody like you can really help out, because, if you're working at a traditional job, and you have a company sponsored plan, there are alternatives out there. And like you said, for the person that, wants to get involved in real estate because they hear like, oh, there's a lot of great investment opportunities in real estate, but I don't necessarily know where to start. I don't
Yep.
know. I may not be able to qualify for a loan right now. I may not be able to do this or that, or I may not even really be excited about buying my own investment properties because of, everybody talks about the 2 a.m. toilet call and what's the clogged toilet and what am I going to do, or the heat's out in the middle of winter. And so this is really a great alternative method for people that want to get into the real estate space and maybe don't have the time, the knowledge, or the experience yet. And maybe they just want to be passive,
Right.
and so while it's exciting and a badge of honor to say, I was out doing this at this property and fixing it up, or putting out this fire that
Yeah.
happened, not a literal fire, but figurative fire, set it and forget it a little bit, right? And that's what you
Yeah.
guys can really help people with.
Yeah, absolutely. And I personally have rehabbed houses. My husband and I have done that. And I had this envision that we were going to be like Chip and Joanna on, HGTV. Let me tell you, it's not like that.
Hmm.
And we own rentals. And yes, you answer to tenants or your property manager does, no matter what time of day it is. The other challenge I think that a lot of people have is they think they need to have a large dollar amount to invest, right?
Hmm.
Whether that means they're going to go buy a piece of real estate to fix and flip or own a rental. Um, our funds that we offer have a minimum investment of $1,000. And I tell people all the time, I mean, I can't tell you how many people I talk to in a day that say, well, I don't have enough money to start investing. You have to start somewhere. Even if
Hmm.
that's with $1,000, if you
Hmm.
start that and you're disciplined with that, you will see your wealth grow and, and create generational wealth for your families. Um, our funds are a great option. I talk to a lot of people that will say, I'll ask them, do you have a 401k? Yeah, I think I have one from like 5 employers ago that
Hmm.
never did anything with it. And they're sitting there earning very, very low yields, being eaten up by fees, and I don't think that people understand that you can take those types of accounts, whether it's, unfortunately, if you're currently working for the employer that is sponsoring the 401k, there's not a lot of options there. But if they
Hmm.
are older 401ks, you're not working for that employer anymore, you're retired. There is opportunity to roll those accounts so that they can keep them as a tax deferred account. They're not going to have to pay a bunch of taxes on them, but they
Hmm.
can roll them to what they call self directed custodians. And then they can start deploying that capital the way they see fit. They can look at real estate funds like ours or notes or something of that nature where they're earning, double digit returns backed by residential real estate assets. It's not a stock account that, the market goes down, you're going to be sitting there waiting for it to come back up.
Hmm.
In my opinion, there's a lot more opportunity when markets shift when you're in the residential real estate space to ride that out. It is a tangible asset.
Hmm.
And so I think that's really our mission, is just to educate people about that. Maybe you haven't even set up an IRA. It's a great time. We're almost to the end of the year. People need to have their IRA contributions in. They do that with a self-directed custodian, then they can start investing it in things like our funds, other people's funds, real estate, things of that nature. And I just don't think there's enough education out there about that.
Hmm.
We've managed funds for a long time. I've been with the company 10 years, and we've managed funds as long as I've been here. 3 years ago, we decided we felt a huge need to open up a fund that everybody could invest in. Prior
Hmm.
to that, these real estate funds were only available to high net worth individuals, which was really a disservice. Like, I don't understand why only the wealthy people should be able to invest in things like this that create, high yields for them.
Yeah.
So we opened up a fund with a minimum of $1,000. And it's got a tie-up period of 12 months. Very short commitment. People can stay in longer if they want, but we wanted a low dollar amount so everybody could get involved.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, we've had people on the show in the past that have had real estate syndications where you can passively invest in that. And I'm trying to remember. I don't know if 25,000 was the lowest. It might have been 50. And I know we've had some people that have said 100,000 is
Mm-hmm.
the bare minimum to get in. And so that's the challenge for people that want to get started. They want to be able to slowly grow that nest egg. They may not be able to plop down 50 grand. Well, yeah,
Right.
you can start with $1,000 and 1,000 can grow to 2,000 and 5,000 and 10,000. And so I think that's a great opportunity, is to have that low barrier of entry for people that want to be in real estate. And then two, like you mentioned, it's backed by residential real estate. And there's a lot of people out there talking about cryptocurrency or different stocks that have went to the moon and some that have failed. And so residential real estate, while we have had mortgage crises, we had things that have happened in the past, it is a tangible asset. It's seen as more stable, and at the end of the day, its value is not going to ever go to zero like a stock could. Or if a company went bankrupt and had to close their doors, their stock price could go to zero. That
Right.
doesn't happen in residential real estate.
Well, and the residential real estate space that we are in, just for clarification, is the affordable housing market. So we are buying real estate and we are lending money secured by real estate that is below the FHA cap. Because in the event that the markets shift, and they are going to shift, anybody in real estate knows this is coming. We're not lending more and we're not buying more than 70% of the value. So it's unlikely that this market's going to drop 30%. You never know. But the opportunity is also there when the market shifts. Let's say potentially we bought a piece of real estate for the fund, on behalf of the fund to invest in, and our intention was to sell it. Then markets start shifting. We could potentially rent that property and cash flow it. When they're under that FHA cap, they're great rental properties. And we teach our students and our borrowers to do that also, right? Have multiple exit strategies, right? If you're relying on one thing to get out of this deal, that's a problem. And we also are creating home ownership. When we're buying houses in the affordable housing market, it makes you feel really good as a fund manager, and it should as a fund member, that we're taking a house that was probably very distressed and creating home ownership and pride of home ownership when we sell that property. So there's multiple benefits to that.
Mm-hmm. Now, how do those funds work? So let's just say, as an example, I've got $1,000, I've saved it up, I'm ready to go, and I say, Heather, I want to invest in real estate. I have $1,000. So I give it to you. And how does that go into the fund, and what happens after that?
So that's a great question. So a couple things. It is $1,000 minimum to invest in the fund, and people can invest more in $1,000 increments. So they can add to the account as they go along. A couple things to be really mindful of is it does have a 12-month tie-up period. So I tell people, this is not get rich quick. We want you to commit to stay in for at least 12 months, and that's a year goes by very fast, right? And earnings, which you brought up syndications, and I love syndications. We have lots of mutual clients that we work with that do syndication. But one of the things with syndication is you don't usually see the upside for multiple years, because the upside is in the appreciation, right? Our funds pay out earnings every month. So every month we take our profits and we pay those earnings out. The really neat thing about our fund is that you can actually roll your earnings. So this is a great option with people with IRAs, because instead of sending money back and forth to these custodians that charge you fees for that, we can actually reinvest your earnings for you, and now you're compounding your interest and your earnings. And I've ran multiple calculators for people. It's anywhere from 0.5% to 1% higher when you're reinvesting your earnings. They are calculated every month. If people want to invest, we have a great platform. They actually just they set up their account. I've had people set up an account in their name, in their IRA, in their wife's IRA, in their kids' HSA accounts and college savings accounts, so they can have multiple profiles. And the nice thing with the online access is they can always log in, see what their account's doing. They can see their earnings being rolled on a monthly basis if they are reinvesting. Obviously, if they want those earnings paid out, we'll send them through check or ACH. We prefer ACH. That's quicker and easier for everybody. But it's a very easy process. Now, the caveat to that is if they're going to use a self-directed IRA, and I know there's a lot of people that are probably going to be on this podcast that are like, what is a self-directed IRA? I am not an IRA expert, but what I can do is I can give you some great referrals for some great custodians out there. There's a ton of them, and it's like anything else. There's really good ones, and there's some that aren't as good. I would be more than happy to give anybody that wants it, some referrals. I tell them to do their own push-ups, right? Figure out which one works best for you. They all offer something a little different, but I'll let you know who we've worked with that we've had good experiences with. So if they set those self-directed IRA accounts up, then we will help them move that money from their IRA into the fund, because there is some forms that have to be filled out. There's, a little little fewer extra steps to do that. And we do that for them. So we'll fill
Mhm.
their forms out, we'll help them get their account set up online, and then we'll process everything, obviously, with their reviews and signatures. So it's pretty easy.
Mhm.
We try to make it as easy as possible, and we want to be as transparent as possible so that everybody can see what's going on with their account.
Mhm. Now, how do because you had mentioned about that you're investing in real estate and that you're
Mm-hmm.
picking certain properties. So who's the person that does that, or how do you decide where we're going to put the money to ensure that the people that are giving the money are getting the returns that they would like?
Absolutely. So, what's interesting about our fund is we actually diversify the fund. So, what I mean by that is we take 75% of our fund balance and we lend that money out to real estate investors. So, your guys that are out there fixing and flipping, buying properties for rental, we will provide them funding, short term funding, on average
Hmm.
12 months. And that generates revenue for the fund from origination points and interest payments paid. So,
Hmm.
75% of the fund is lent out through those types of activities. We service all that. So when those people are making their payments, that's part of the profits that are paid out.
Hmm.
And that's nationwide. And we have an underwriting team. This is all in house. We have about 100 employees here. So we underwrite, we do all the due diligence, make sure there's title insurance, all those types of things. The other 25% of the fund balance, we have an acquisition team that goes out in our local market, which is Spokane, Washington, and Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and
Hmm.
they find properties, from different types of avenues. Distressed sellers. We've bought lien abatement houses from the cities. Foreclosures. We used to go to auction until COVID happened, and
Hmm.
foreclosure auction is not as lucrative as it used to be. But myself and two other members are fund members, and so we make the decision. Okay, we're going to buy this property. We have a rehab crew that will go in, give us a bid. They actually work for us, and we decide, okay, yes, we're going to do this, or no, we're not going to do this. We're going to wholesale it. And so there's three fund managers internally here at our local office in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, that make those decisions. And
Hmm.
then obviously when those properties are sold, those profits are paid out through earnings to the fund members.
Hmm. And as you shared earlier with me before the recording started, that Coeur d'Alene is a hotbed for real estate.
Yes.
And so the fact that, if I'm investing my money with you and you're investing in the Coeur d'Alene area, it is a growing real estate market and a spot where you can get good returns.
Oh yeah, Spokane and Coeur d'Alene are both hot markets right now, and
Hmm.
we were investing there before they became so well known, over the last couple of years. But yeah, there's still opportunity. You have to know where to find those deals. We're not buying deals that are on the MLS market; they're overpriced. We're finding other. We have other strategies to find those deals, and I think that's where the benefit to the fund also comes in, because you have people that want to invest in real estate, and whether they may not have the time, they may not have enough money, they may not even know where to find the deals. Why not let us do that for you? You can still reap the benefits of that, and you don't have to do any of the heavy lifting. You can sit
Hmm.
back passively, earn good yields on your money. Average yields on the fund are 8 to 10%, which are great yields.
Hmm.
Most people's savings accounts are under 1%. So,
Hmm.
I talk to these people, and I've got 300 grand sitting in my savings accounts. It's like, please do something with that. Whether it's with us or someone else, please go put that money to work for you. So,
And I think diversification is helpful too, right?
yep,
It's great if you want to invest in cryptocurrency. It's great if you want to invest in the stock market. It's great if you have a 401k, and at the same time, diversification helps. So if it's not I'm putting all of my eggs in your basket, it's nice to at least put a good
absolutely.
chunk into there, because you want to have that ability to diversify, because you don't know what's going to happen in some of these other markets and some of these other areas. And so it's good to have some money in a more stable, safer investment that still pays out great returns.
No, absolutely. And I talk to people all the time that, they'll have $50,000 and they're thinking of going to try and fix and flip a house and put all their 50 grand into that. They have a full-time job,
Hmm.
and I've done that on weekends and nights, and it's not very fun. And, like I tell them, when you put your money in the fund, it's diversified over hundreds of notes, and at any given time probably 40 to 50 properties. So it does blend it, and it gives you a better average yield than putting all your eggs into one basket in one project. that may
Mhm.
or may not be profitable for you. Let the experts do it for you. And again, it is diversified.
Yeah, and the other thing that I just wanted to touch back on too, when you were talking about self-directed IRAs. So for people that don't know what that is, and you had mentioned about, picking a fund manager, essentially like you had said previously, if I have money in an IRA of a past employer or something like that, you can use that funds for, what you guys are doing. And
Hmm.
so really the process is, yeah, you contact one of these people that set up the self-directed IRA, and you basically just go to them and say, here's where my money was. I want you to help set it up so that I can set up this IRA to be able to put money with Secured Investment Corp. And here's what I want to do. So for people that don't understand how that self-directed IRA process works, it's really just like that. I've got money over here. I need to
Yep.
talk to somebody that's going to set up this fund for me so that I can then go invest it in something like what you have to offer. And it really is that simple. Like you said, you've got
Yeah.
some paperwork to fill out. There's some hoops that eventually you have to jump through. But the nice thing is you can have a say in how your money is spent or how your money is invested. It's not, hey, this employer 5 years ago or 10 years ago, it's in one of their funds that, I don't know what it's doing or what it's invested in or anything like that. You get a say in how you invest it. And because it's through an IRA, there's more restrictions than if I just was investing my, savings in that. But at the
Right.
same time, now I'm putting that money to something that could give me a better return. So that would be, why would I do a self-directed IRA in something like this versus just leaving it with that past employer and not even knowing what's going to happen with it?
Right. And it is that simple. And that's what a self-directed custodian is there for, is to help navigate through that process. I mean, it is literally that easy. This is where my account is. They will even contact them, move everything over. And, the benefit is you're directing it, you're picking and choosing where you want to invest it. You're not paying a financial advisor or a money manager some absorbent fees to dictate where you're going to put your money based on really what kind of commissions they make. Let's be honest, that's
Hmm.
typically how that's navigated. And there's so many resources and options out there, even outside of our company, that you can deploy your capital through. And those accounts are just tax deferred accounts. I mean, we work with a lot of people that just have liquid money that they're looking to invest. So I don't want people
Hmm.
to think they have to set up a self-directed account.
Correct.
I'm just really passionate about those, and I don't think there's enough information out there. So, like I said, they are welcome to get a hold of me. I will give them some references for different custodians,
Mhm.
because a lot of them do, educational webinars, podcasts, things like that, where they can learn more about that.
Yeah. And I think for a lot of people, because so many people switch jobs every couple of years,
Yep.
they're likely to have something like that. And because they haven't done anything with it, it
Hmm.
probably means they don't know what they can do with it. And so I think that's
Exactly.
where, for a lot of people, they don't realize, like, oh, I can actually put this somewhere else versus just leaving it with that past employer until I'm ready to retire. So I think just getting the message out there, like, yeah, you can have an active role in what happens with that. And yeah, you may have forgot about it 5 or 10 years ago, and there might be
Yeah.
$10,000, $20,000 in there or something like that or more. Why not put it to use and then have control over it? And then you can put additional contributions to that and help it to grow. So I think that's where you can really help it work for you versus just feeling like, oh, I left that job 5 years ago and I really don't know what I can do with that. And I guess I just have to leave it there. No, you don't. You can do something
Yeah.
with it and make a good investment decision with it.
Absolutely.
You touched on how you're investing with kind of the traditional investor. For
Mhm.
people that are going down that route, how would they be able to work with you, or what does that process look like?
Yeah, what I would encourage them to do is get a hold of us. You can call our 800 number. It's 800-971-5988. That rings right into my office and my team. And we'd be more than happy to, talk with anybody, help them, better understand. Obviously, we only have so much time here, and there's a
Mhm.
lot of information. So again, that's 800-971-5988. Or they can always visit our website at securedinvestmentcorp.com. That's securedinvestmentcorp.com. And they can schedule an appointment with myself and my team on there too. We've got a lot of
Mhm.
information on there about our funds, and some of the other things that we offer. So we'd love to talk with. There's no obligation. Like I said, we feel passionate about the opportunity to invest in the fund. We feel fairly knowledgeable about self-directed IRAs if people are looking for more information. So I encourage them to go to the website or give us a call.
Now, these would be for people like, hey, I'm looking to buy a property. I may not have the funds right now, or I may not be able to access the funds, but I've been an experienced investor in the past or an experienced flipper in the past, and you can lend the money to that
Yep,
person. And then in the meantime, that's where my $1,000 is going when I'm investing it into that larger fund, correct?
absolutely. And we have a lot of clients that do both. We
Mm-hmm.
have active real estate investors that borrow money from us, and a lot of times they'll take a portion of their profit and invest it into the fund. One of the things that we encourage here, get paid every way. Have multiple streams of income. If you're
Mm-hmm.
if you're a real estate investor, be the broker, be the agent. There's no reason that this is any different. This is another stream of income to create wealth for yourself, because it's not going to happen with an 8 to 5 job.
Mm-hmm.
We call them side hustles.
Yep.
Invest passively, be active, have your day job. It's that important.
Yep. And just to be clear here too, like I don't have to live in Spokane or in Coeur d'Alene to be
No.
able to do that. I can live in Minnesota and
Yep.
still have the fund and invest in my real estate.
Absolutely. And we lend nationwide too. We lend money on properties all over.
Mhm.
So no, you do not have to be local.
Any other last words that you want to share with folks, or stories to share, success stories or anything like that, or any tips for folks?
Yeah, I just, like I said, I think my passion comes from being able to help people create wealth, and I have everything from high net worth individuals that invest their money and travel all over the world and just look for their fund checks, and they're not even touching their principal, to the people that are just getting started. And I think that's kind of where my passion right now is really like the younger generation, or even people that are in their 40s and 50s that never started investing. You have to start. It doesn't matter how much you have, what age you are. If you don't ever start, you're never going to create wealth for yourself. So
Mhm.
I just encourage them to reach out. Like I said, there's no obligation to call us. We're really here just to share our knowledge and our experiences. And I have a million stories of people that have pulled all their money out of the stock market. Which, like you said, I believe in diversification. So I'm not here to say
Mhm.
put all your eggs in our basket, but I do think that there is a lot more opportunity out there than people really understand. So educate yourself. And I'd be happy to point people in directions where they can get that education, even if they're not ready to start doing anything yet.
Yeah, we always tell people the two best times to plant a tree are 20 years ago, and then the second best time is today. So if you're saying I want to invest in real estate, I don't know what to do, but I have $1,000, you can call Heather, and Heather's going to help you get started with that so that you could be a real estate investor now here by the end of the year. If that's a goal of yours,
Absolutely.
it's a very passive way. Get your foot in the door, get started, and you can build from there.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Heather, for coming on. I know you shared website. I know you shared phone number. Any other way that folks could get a hold of you or reach out to you?
We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, LinkedIn. All of those ways you will get to us.
Mhm.
Like I said, the website's probably your best option because you can actually schedule an appointment right on there, that works for their schedule. So again, that website's securedinvestmentcorp.com.
Awesome. Thanks so much for coming on
Thank
and sharing. I'm
you. The
glad that
pleasure.
that you want to help people, and that you want to help people that maybe want to get started and don't know what to do. So it's definitely a great spot in the market, and especially for those folks that don't have the $50,000, the $100,000 yet, you can start today and get going. So thanks so much for coming on and sharing. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.